Are live. Holy crap. It's just like that. You don't even have to do any editing. We're just straight up on there.
Just like that. I thought it would give us like a breakdown, but it's not. It's bam. It's there.
Yeah, no,
So
it wasn't even a countdown. I was just throwing it in there. What is up, Nerfherders? Welcome back to the nap. We are trying a live broadcast this time around. I'm going to check my subscriptions to see if that's actually working. Yeah, we're not showing up in my subs, so who knows? We'll,
yeah.
Maybe
This
there's
is definitely a
gonna be
first-time
delay.
test for us. Thanks to the people over at StreamYard, they're giving us like a trial on this of their top abilities. So we're trying this out. We tried to do it with Zoom earlier this week, and it was more hassle than it was worth. So, but I kind of like this setup. I get to see Seth's ridiculously dirty basement right now. It's kind of
All right. Easy. All right. I can't move the desk because Thor left his fucking hammer there.
yeah.
Everything back here. I mean, they're all my camera bags and stuff. So I mean, it's as organized as it could be while still being somewhat dirty.
Yeah. What's the cup you're drinking out of there, bud?
You know what? This was the theater cup that they gave me after watching Spider-Man: Homecoming, and it's been through so much that the graphics just destroyed. It's just gone now.
I wonder if I have do I have mine? Let's see here. I've got some theater cups. My room is a mess too. I shouldn't be talking crap. I've got let's see here.
You got way more than I do.
I've got the Justice League cup. I've got the Wonder Woman cup. I've got the shiny Aquaman cup. I've got Black Panther. Got Thor Ragnarok, Incredibles 2, and Deadpool 2. Heck yeah. And then I got some beer pong balls in there, so that's awesome.
So I definitely... Something's flying by.
Yeah, can you hear it that clear? Jeez.
Yeah, I heard that.
That's so weird.
Loud.
I'm sorry.
My
My microphone must be working overtime here or something.
it is.
Surround sound.
Hopefully I sound good.
You sound fine. Yeah, I guess we'll figure it out at the end of this, right?
Yeah. No,
hey, before we get started, just because you got to show off your cat on the last one, I wanted to show off my little puppy here.
I don't know if got to is the right word. he kind of forced himself on this. He's gonna make an appearance again too.
Well, if you hear some snoring, it's either this one or the other one. So
he is.
You don't want to say hi to Seth? No?
He is completely disinterested.
She's tired. She's really tired.
All right. Well, how's it going, Nerfherders? Welcome into our. If you end up seeing this, we don't know. This is the first time we've tried it, and it's still not showing up in my subscriptions, so I'm not sure what to expect here. But yeah, we're trying out different methods in order to get the podcast out there to you guys, and we wanted to have more regular video content coming to the channel. So beyond the gaming playthrough that I'm doing right now, which is again more or less a test run, just to kind of like see like how quick I can. I haven't gone too terribly heavy into the editing side. There's no cuts. It's strictly a playthrough commentary. And that's more or less to see like how fast I can actually get these videos out. And if I'm not doing any serious editing, it's quite fast. So I could stick to like maybe 2 a week or something like that for something specifically just like that with like a reasonable level of editing and some effects and stuff like that.
Sure.
And then you've got your videos that you've been putting so much more effort into those. And
too much effort. I think I need to scale it back. I think I'm getting away with it right now because it's because my wife is gone, but she's supposed to be coming back tomorrow, and I don't think she's gonna allow me to be in here for that long working on this. So yeah, we'll see. I don't see it on mine either, but who knows? It might be. I don't know. So we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm not like. Did you? I don't know. We'll work out the technical side of it. Hopefully, it's recording at least.
Yeah, it should be.
And we don't have to we don't have to go back to it later and find out that the entire episode that we did is just gone. I mean, we'll have the audio version, so I mean, we've got our fallback that way. But
exactly.
So yeah, if you're listening to this on audio and you also can't see this in your subscriptions at the time, you will know that something went terribly, terribly wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're trying to come up with some more video content to keep up with you guys. The basement is actually a mess still because this side of the basement, which I will not show, is being transitioned into a set for my movie reviews, which are just going to be my like solo review sessions. And so that'll be kind of neat because I've been talking about doing that for forever. Like I was going to go through the entire Infinity Saga. I was going to go through the Lord of the Rings films, all of that.
Is that going to be part of Nerfherders, or is that going to be on the Seth Jones channel?
No, that's right here on Nerfherders. I've got a green screen that I'm gonna use. It's gonna be fancy. Like I'm gonna try my hand at green screen effects, something that I haven't done before. Cool. But yeah, we've got a little bit to talk about. I mean, you're probably annoyed because it's so far behind us to where you are in the whole thing, but because I'm only caught up to season 5. Up to season 5, not even through.
Yeah, you're right in the middle of season 5 right now of Clone Wars is what we're talking about. Yeah,
and I still haven't even gotten to the new side of stuff yet. So I haven't seen a single episode of season 6. If I had, it was probably bits and pieces of it because I know that I have seen more stuff with Darth Maul and Savage Opress than what. Than what especially season 4 has actually shown, but I know season 5 is pretty heavy with him. But I don't know anything about season 6.
And season 6 was the Netflix season, right? That's when Netflix picked it up, and it's I'm pretty sure that's what season 6 is. And when you look at the box art, I'm pretty sure it says like it calls it the Lost Missions, but now that there's a season 7, it's called season 6, but. Yeah, I believe that's when Netflix picked it up for 13 episodes, and then even though they picked it up, they didn't finish it, and now there's the 7th season finale. So yeah, we need to get to this 7th season, man, because me and you got to talk about this, and if we have to break it down and talk about it in arcs, then we can do that because there's 12 episodes and 3 arcs, so there's 4 episode arcs, 3 of them. And if we have to be like okay, that. Seth's finished the first arc, let's talk about it. Because I feel like I could break those arc downs. I could talk for an hour on each of those arcs. So we might have to do that.
That might be a little intense for me, but no.
When you watch it, it might not be intense.
It might not. Season 4 is where the show really ramped up for me. Like the ending of season 3, or the final episodes of season 3, where it was all, where a lot of it was I can't remember the planet's name, but it was the balance in the Force, and like the physical embodiments of the Force. That was obviously great, but in 4, like in season 4, we really got down into the nitty gritty of just the war games, and Krell, all of his BS. I mean, that particular arc was so frustrating because you knew kind of what his issue was going to be from the start, because like you knew, like just based off of his attitudes, like that's not how a Jedi would act. Like they wouldn't be that, they wouldn't be like that. Like it went like that attitude that he had, and that disconnection, you could see like to an extreme point. Maybe he's just trying to like not have any connections to any of these troops, but then it showed like kind of like a blatant, like you can't really call, I guess you could call it racism, because he just had no respect for the clones whatsoever. And I know that there was a film that was that they were, I can't remember which one it was specifically, but the line that I really liked was, I can't remember which clone actually said it, but he said that at least when Skywalker was with us, he was fighting at the front lines with us and not back behind giving orders.
Sure.
And having pretty much all of the clones just killing themselves. And that was why it was so frustrating, because like there wasn't any military tactic to it at all, because he didn't care, and he also wasn't risking his life at all, which really sucks because he had a really cool combat style. He had big lightsabers, and they had that super deep hum to them, and they were also the folding double sabers. Like, I really wanted him to, like, when he first showed up, I really wanted him to have like a redemption arc where he's like, oh, the clones aren't so bad. I was a dickhead. Sorry, I wasn't quite with the Jedi Order. But no, he was like, no, you're dead. And I love how they killed him off too.
Well,
like,
before we get to the end of it, let's talk about the meat of it. I thought when I was talking to you when I was watching this, these were the episodes I said were like Saving Private Ryan episodes, because it's a 4-episode arc on them, on just this one unit, and they have to take out this base so that the main unit that Kenobi's with can like attack the city. And the war scenes in this were amazing. I mean, there was a ton of just it reminded me of the beach, scene at the beginning of Saving Private Ryan, because just people are getting taken out left and right. It's zooming in on them. You're really seeing it from the soldier's perspective. And, as soon as Krell showed up, I didn't want them to have a redemption arc for this guy, because you saw from the beginning that he had issues. He was, I think he said something about, this is what we're going to do. And Rex was like, well, this is what, this is what Anakin was going to, or, General Skywalker was going to do. And he said, well, I'm not General Skywalker. And he's like, okay. And then the next time they kind of had a confrontation was Rex saying, hey, the men are tired. And Krell's like, I don't care. They're clones. They don't get the luxury of being tired. We need to push forward. And when he tried to like say, well, in my opinion, Krell just turned on his lightsaber, like in his face. And that was one of their first interactions. And I was like, I mean, that's the equivalent of a general like pointing his gun at his sergeant and saying, you're going to follow my orders. And I mean, that was the beginning of the first episode of this 4-episode arc. And from that point on, I was like, there is no way that this guy can be redeemed, because that is like, that's threatening to murder a dude,
For the first few seconds of his interaction, before that was the moment where I was like, okay, like he's done. Yeah, it's not gonna go that way. But like in our first introduction to him, where he was just kind of like this grizzled hard ass, I was just like, okay, I hope he lightens up. But that didn't last very long. And I remember being like, I remember that level of frustrating the first time I saw the series too. So, I mean, it was even more frustrating watching it this time around, because like knowing the direction that he was going to go
and how far he'd go. Yeah.
It made me really mad that nobody like ratted him out or anything like that. Like nobody talked to anybody. Like, well,
because I mean, yeah, what were they gonna do? Call up Kenobi and be like, "Hey, yo, your other Jedi here is acting like a dick." But I mean, we've kind of had parts of this conversation before, but it goes back to that of, why are these Jedis who are supposed to be peacekeepers, why are they being given the ranks of generals? Like, you don't in wartime, you don't think of a general as a peacekeeper, a level-headed, a calm person. You think of, it's the dude that's commanding people to go into the fight. And so, that's part one of the conversation. And then the other part of the conversation is, some of these Jedi see these clones as people, as soldiers with names and lives, and other ones see them as disposable. And that's not really Jedi-like either. Like, I get it, they're soldiers, but they're people. They've got minds. They've got they've got organs. They're real people. And Krell was just like, no, they're literally cannon fodder until they get the job done.
It was especially frustrating to me knowing that they're like, you would think that the rest of the Jedi would know about this guy already, because he had a reputation already.
Yeah,
Like
how did he get that far?
yeah, like when he got in, he like I'm sorry, I'm looking at show notes to kind of like keep her fresh on each episode here, but the like he wasn't willing to cooperate with the clones at all. He wasn't willing to take any of their advice. It was like he was completely non-committed to victory at the lowest cost. It was victory at any cost. Everybody was completely expendable, and that's just not the Jedi way. But he had a reputation already, because like that was like one of the first things. I can't remember which clone said it specifically, but because they all have the same friggin' voice. but like the first thing they said is like, oh, they're bringing in General Krill. It must be serious. Like,
yeah.
So he had a reputation as a very serious dude, and probably had a reputation already of being the way that he was. Is like, how did the Jedi not pick up on this? Like, blatant disregard for loss of life is also not the Jedi way, and that had to have gotten to the council at some point. And you can say it was like, well, it was wartime. Like they did what they had to do, but did they really though? I mean, they made smaller sacrifices for bigger issues.
The clones brought that up, and that, you know, when they were initially talking about him too, like, you know, more clones have died under him than any other general. Like they knew that in the clones, so that means other people knew it. And just the way he acted, man, and the way he asserted himself. And it's one thing to be like, don't question my orders. It's another thing to immediately threaten to kill somebody in your first or second interaction, just because they have, you know, a different opinion or something like that. It'd be like, and I'm sorry, I'm sure some people are like, stop referencing Star Trek: The Next Generation, but every single time, you know, the beginning seasons, there was this thing of Riker always like countering Picard, and it was like, you know, but the thing was, it wasn't like mutiny. It wasn't because Riker was acting out. That's literally what his job as second in command was. You know, he was to question and counter, but then when the final decision was made, he was to follow that out. But that was his job, was to, you know, to provide alternatives. And so in this case, that was, I'm pretty sure it was Rex that was commanding all of them, and he was the one that was saying, you know, our guys need to rest, or, you know, that's going to be bottlenecking us up if we do this, or this and that. And Krell was just like, you know, you're a clone. You don't get to talk. You know, you don't get an opinion. You don't get to strategize. You just do as you're told, or you die as you do it. And that was it. And yeah, the whole time I was just like, how is this acceptable?
It was Rex and Fives that I think that most of the debating was going on between.
Sure. Rex was trying to stay level-headed because Rex was the superior, and he was, you know, there was some other clones that was like, oh no, Krell is right 100%. We need to do as he says. He's amazing, and we should follow his every word. Rex was listening to everybody, but he was keeping the calm head of the leader. Fives was like, you know, Fives was just all out there. He was just like, no, this is bullcrap. We need to, you know, do something now, or else more of our people are going to die. And unfortunately, it took like 3 episodes to do something because people just kept on dying.
And even more so, it was 3 episodes of him making bad calls, the clones then making good calls that ended up being successful, and him still blatantly being like, nah, we're going to do it my way still. Yeah. Like there wasn't like, it didn't matter what their successes were. It was like, he was more angry about them breaking his command than they were about them successfully taking the base with their covert operation their sabotage. Yeah. Covert sabotage. Mm-hmm. And hijacking of the enemy fighters. Like, I was like, seriously, dude, you won. Does it, like, when you're in a war situation, I don't think that them breaking your command and saving as many lives as possible and winning would take priority. I figured that would take priority, but it didn't. The other arc, I'm still not sure how I feel about it at this point. I can't remember what I thought about it the first time around, but it was the Obi-Wan going in disguise. and
Was
taking
that in
on.
season 4?
Yeah, the box.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry. We gotta finish this Krill conversation. We don't have to have the whole episode on this, but let's talk about the ending. So the ending, first of all, they kind of ripped off episode 1, Star Wars episode 1, whereas they got a bad guy ship and they flew it up into the bad guy ship and then blew it up from the inside. That's kind of exactly what they did in Phantom Menace.
Well, they referenced that.
Did they? Did I miss that part?
Yeah, they made that reference that General Skywalker blew up one of these when he was a kid. He said to go for the reactor or something like that.
Yeah. So they did that awesome move, and they come back, and Krill's like, "Good job, that was amazing." But yeah, you need to be executed now.
Yeah, we're gonna court-martial you, and well, at first he was gonna be like, "All right, we're gonna court-martial you," and then when the opposition was up to that, he was like, "You know what? We're gonna get into combat," and he was just gonna have him executed then.
Yeah.
And then like he betrayed the entire battalion by creating that was the most fucked up thing about the whole thing, is that he was like, all right, they've stolen clone uniform. The enemy has stolen clone uniforms.
Oh my gosh!
And he told
when
both
he did that,
told both sides, and so both sides end up killing each other. And then you see Rex in easily the most unhinged part of him so far, being like, oh my, like I don't know about unhinged, but completely panicking, be like, holy crap. No, they're with us. Stop it.
Yeah.
And
he took off his mask. He ran out in front of everybody. He's like, stop, they're clones. Like, it was intense.
That was
and then to know that Krell did that. Like, it wasn't a miscommunications. He literally did that to have them kill each other as punishment, hoping that the right ones would die. Oh, yeah, he did.
He had no problem telling him that because he figured, like, oh, no, it'll be fine. There won't be an issue here.
What I was happy about the ending of that, because then after that they were like, nope, we're arresting your ass, and then we're going to we're going to take care of you here and now. And then he tries to kill them all and everything. Eventually they kill him, but I was so, because then at the end it kind of got over the top. He started doing that manic evil laugh in the darkness, which I didn't like. I'm like, don't turn into the Joker now. We don't need your evil, evil laugh. But at least they didn't go down the route of he was a Sith spy the whole time. I didn't want that to happen. I just wanted it to be a bad seed that, just decided that he didn't want to be a Jedi. It wasn't necessarily that he was joining the dark side. He just didn't care. And he didn't care about what was right. And he stayed with the Jedis because he was in a position of power. But then his power got, upset by these clones, and he just started killing everybody. And I was like, that is great writing. They didn't like water it down by saying, oh, he was a spy the whole time or something like that. But they did kill him, and I really wanted to have like him in front of Kenobi or him in front of another Jedi, and then be like, look at this sack of shit. But they didn't get to that moment, sadly.
Well, I like that they did go the way that they did, where Dogma, the clone that was like following his orders blindly, like every single time, like he's the general, we've got to do it this way. Yeah. And who was eventually like I think he was part of the firing squad that they were going to kill
he was going to give the order
else with.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He ended up being the one who killed him off. He ended up being the one who shot him and be like, you know what? We can't let him get away with this shit. It was like he saw that danger immediately. Like, he broke the law.
I wondered if he did that because like it was the final straw, or he knew that the second they killed Krell, they were going to kill him. Like if it was like I've got to do something now to protect myself. Well, or a mix of both.
Well, he had a pretty big moment where when Krill was kind of like confessing to everything, where Dogma was like, he couldn't believe that that the Jedi was capable of doing what he did. And that kind of broke away from him like following it, like, because again, he was completely by the book, and as soon as he found out that Krell was a traitor, he turned on him without a thought. He was like, oh no, we're not going to do it.
It took him long enough to see it though. Holy crap.
Yeah, but again, we're dealing with clones that are bred to be incredibly obedient, and
submissive.
like you got to imagine that Dogma was probably a little bit more shiny than the rest of them.
True.
And hadn't had to deal with that many like real human situations where like that level of judgment needed to come into play. Yeah, it was a great arc. See, that was the thing that they started in season 3 and then really started committing to here in season 4, and from what I remember also in season 5, where it wasn't just them scrambling about. There were multiple episodes in line where they're exploring these arcs. They're giving them more time to develop, and
they were like mini movies. I mean,
they really
22 episodes. That's 84, 86 episodes a movie. That's an hour and 20-minute movie. And I know that they marketed them that way too when they were putting them out on DVDs. They didn't just put them out in seasons. They put them out in volumes, and I mean, that's the way to go. And right after the Krill arc is the next arc that you were talking about, is with Obi-Wan going undercover.
Yeah, well, and I mean, and like you mentioned, like that 4-episode arc with General Krell will come out to about like 120 minutes, and so or 80 minutes. So you're
still
looking
a short movie, but it's a movie. Yeah.
Well, you're over an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, that's kind of how they came out. Now the one with Kenobi going undercover, I'm still not like on board with, because of like what they opened the door for in the Star Wars universe by having him basically be injected with a shifting serum. Like the episodes weren't as memorable to me. Like I couldn't remember much of them when I was watching them this time from my last watch through. I was just like,
I really wondered. So it begins with Kenobi being assassinated, and like a real cheap shot. Well, I mean, but that's what you're led to believe. I mean, It's a real cheap shot assassination.
Yeah, he's sniped.
Yeah, and you're just like, and you even see like when he's doing it, because they're on like rooftops, and he just like steps out of cover, and I mean, I questioned it right then. I was like, Kenobi's not that dumb. But then you do this whole thing, and basically the reason they did this was so that he could go undercover as the guy that killed Kenobi, and then go into prison and then meet up with some gangsters. And they did the whole, he injected something kind of like the Minority Report thing where he put it to his face, except it wasn't like a messed up, mashed potato face. It was like an actual different person. And Anakin just fell for it. I mean, he was just like, first of all, that was a crazy gamble that they didn't believe Anakin would kill this dude, because Anakin found him and arrested him. And I'm like, you believed he wouldn't kill him? Anakin of all people?
Well, I mean, are they taking a huge gamble by Anakin having to finding this guy and then killing off like a serial killer, basically? I mean, he's a bounty hunter.
And he has killed before. He's killed before, privately and for the Republic. And you're telling me that the guy that killed his master, you're not... I mean, Kenobi killed the guy that killed his master, and nobody was like, Kenobi, you're a murderer. So who's to say that Anakin couldn't kill the guy that killed his master and get away with it? That was a huge gamble. But then why they didn't tell him up front, I really didn't understand that. Like, what was the huge gain by not telling Anakin that his master was alive?
I mean, the way they justify is that it wouldn't be believed that Obi-Wan was killed unless Anakin went like all unhinged like he did. Like, I think that was part of their thing, that it was crucial that Anakin believed that he was dead so everybody else would.
Sure.
To help us cover, which I don't necessarily agree with. See, I can see him in the camera reflections.
Oh yeah, I can see him too. Oh yeah,
he's screwing with the blinds, and he's trying to blink. He really doesn't want those blinds there. And when I open the window, he goes to the other set of blinds to screw with those. So it's not him wanting to look out the window.
Like a curtain in front of it or something like that.
Yeah, we do that, and then he attacks the curtain. You should see our living room curtain one of these days.
Cats.
It's all like cats.
Living
They're
with
dicks.
Cats. Count Dooku never really bought it. He was always like, killed Kenobi, really? Like, he questioned it from the start. And I feel like any big bad would have questioned it. You know.
But that was kind of why like I felt so weird about Anakin believing it right away, because like Dooku, who does not have a big connection to Obi-Wan, was like sensing it, but like this doesn't seem right. Like there's something off about that guy.
Yeah.
And then Anakin, like, I mean, first of all, he got to Obi-Wan right after he was killed.
Yeah,
And
because
like
they sent him there. They set it all up that he would find him at the bar or whatever.
yeah, and I can't even remember like what was explained away, like how Anakin believed that he was dead when he was like there holding him. Like
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
did they revive Obi-Wan later or something like that and just not tell anybody about it? Like what kind of technology was used for that? I don't know. It was
that's
just,
right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
it's like how did Anakin believe that he was dead when he wasn't actually? It's like what had to be done there? Like I don't know. And if they were able to like revive Obi-Wan from being killed, like in after the amount of time that it took for them to get his body to wherever they had to do that,
Sure.
it's like, oh, but Padme died of being sad and she couldn't be brought back to life at all. Like
She didn't want to live.
No, she had lost all will to live.
Yeah, Kenobi wanted to live, but I mean, yeah,
it's just
it
opened
much,
so many weird. It opened up like some weird doors that I wasn't sure like were ever going to be able to be closed or would ever even be walked through again. It's like, all right, was that simply just a plot machine so they could make this episode? I think it would have been a lot cooler if they had hired a different bounty hunter to like join in on all this stuff and they just keep tabs on him the whole time. Because
but then they were just, but then I mean, at least with Kenobi, they would know where his allegiances stood. If they hired another bounty hunter, even one they liked, you know, the chances that he could be bought were out there.
Yeah, but that takes away the suspense completely because we know Obi-Wan lives because we've seen him in the movie, so he's an invincible character, is what I would consider him at this point. He's not going to die. We know where his allegiances are because we know he's not going to be bought off. So like the suspense in him being involved is completely gone.
I meant the Jedi knew that they could trust him 100% as opposed to getting another bounty hunter that could possibly be bought off, you know, and stop working for them and then spoil the whole plan. You know, they had to send somebody in that they knew would A, survive, and B, always be loyal to them.
Well, sure. But maybe not a bounty hunter, maybe just a skilled Republic soldier or something like that. Maybe a skilled clone.
Yeah.
Like,
it's still convoluted as hell.
Yeah. It just took away the suspense completely by having Obi-Wan involved in all that because you knew that he was going to survive. I was like, at first I was a little bit less than impressed that he was like a master sharpshooter. But I had to like be like, all right, it's Jedi reflexes and who can't aim a rifle. I was like, so I figured that had to, like, they just assumed that was going to be the assumption that everybody else was going to come up with. But like Obi-Wan has a history of not liking guns. So that's
true. Maybe he just used the Force, but yeah, he did go in as the sniper and they end up throwing him in a box. They called it the box.
Yeah.
With a bunch of other people.
That was a cool
dude
sequence,
that was running.
Though.
Yeah, the dude that was running the Citadel had built this big tester, like hologram box.
Yeah, Mr.
And
Third
some
Person.
of them were gonna die, and some of them weren't. And it was very. There's a Rebels episode that's very similar with a similar box type thing for the clone cadets. And I was like, oh, I wonder if this is the same technology, but.
Must be. I mean, it's that Star Wars level of holographic technology that they've got, and I think they were using like real robots of some kind. But it, you know, like stuff like that, it reminded me a lot of like that level of technology reminds me of Proxy from The Force Unleashed.
Oh, sure.
Like the robot who could like change his appearance and stuff like that. And that level of holographic technology, that was kind of what it made me think of from time to time. I still haven't seen a droid model like that though, so I don't know if they, like, I don't know if he ever, if his model of droid ever shows up again or not. But
sure. Well, so they took all these guys, they put them in this box, and they said, "Hey, we need a team of like 6 or 8, and the 8 of you that survive are gonna go kidnap the Senate, and the rest of you we're gonna die. So step in the box and hope that you live. And your boy Bane shows up, and he's kind of the top dog already. And him and Kenobi kind of have this camaraderie. Like Kenobi knows how to like get in with him, like how to test him.
He knew how to be that level of scoundrel to get in with him.
He was pulling some Han Solo stuff, like,
yes, he was.
Like,
and then
I'm gonna get on your nerves, and I'm gonna get you to the point that you could kill me, but you respect me enough that we could actually be friends at the same time.
Like the double cross that he pulls off on Nal Hutta, and he plays it off that he had that a Hutt owed him a favor and all that stuff, and
straight up shoots them down, and then doesn't expect Bane to come back and kill him. He's just like, "Hey, it's business, man."
It's like, you need me now. like it was smooth.
Balls.
Mm-hmm. It was really slick. But yeah, like,
and then they also, on that same episode, they had to fight Anakin and Ahsoka, and so he was like having to fight them, but then also protect them from Bane, because he didn't want to distract him too much that Bane would actually kill them, because Bane is very calculated, and
but also protect Bane.
He could. Yeah, he had to also protect Bane at the same time, so he was just kind of all over the place. And finally, he kind of did a whole whisper into Anakin's ear, which I don't understand why he couldn't have done that earlier. But he did that, and then they got away. But I was just like, please, like, someone's gonna die here if you don't do this right. So just get it over with. Hurry up.
The interesting portion of it, now this was something that I remembered the Clone Wars doing pretty well, was that they were giving a little bit more context to Anakin's turn to the dark side, and establishing a little bit more distrust with the Jedi. This was a big episode for that, by deceiving him about his master being killed, and not letting him be in on that, because they don't trust him. Like, they like that's how he took it. That's not what their intention was to show that they didn't trust him, because I guess the Jedi Council probably, honestly, with his track record, I don't think they do too terrible much. I mean, they trust him
because he still doesn't
have a general
have a seat
status, but
yeah, he doesn't have a seat on the council, so they don't trust him that much. They've kind of accepted him, but they haven't accepted him. He's not in that big room and everything, and it was just so weird, because so much of their plan was based on Anakin is a very emotional person, and we're going to trust that his emotions will cloud his judgment, and he won't be able to see that the guy that he's arresting is actually his master. So they depend so much on that emotion, even though emotion is bad for Jedi. They don't want a Jedi to be super emotional. And then at the same time, that same emotion could have gone bad so many times. Like, he could have, the senator was like, go get him. Like, don't wait. Go hunt him down. And he could have, not the senator, the chancellor. And he could have easily just, gone after and tried to kill the guy that killed his master so many times. And because of that same emotion. And it was just weird that the Jedi Council was like, we'll roll the dice on that, and hopefully it turns out in our favor.
And again, it's more of that manipulation from Palpatine that we're seeing, and that was. Is there something rattling on your side? I don't know. Are you hearing that weird little
no
trilling noise? I don't know. No, that was one of the complaints that I had about Revenge of the Sith, and I think a lot of people did, is that Anakin's turn seemed so simple. Honestly, there wasn't a lot that happened to him in that episode that would be like, I see through the lies of the Jedi. I was like, oh, he's a master, but I'm on the council, but I'm not a master. Boo hoo! I'm gonna turn bad now. It's like, and honestly, it wasn't until that it was more about him when he cut off Mace Windu's arms in that movie. It was more about him killing off the only source that he thought could save Padme. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna turn because they've been lying to me. It was like, I'm gonna turn because I have to, because I just betrayed the Jedi.
Did you just say he cut off Mace Windu's arms?
Well, he cut off a arm, at least,
of Mace Windu,
in
really?
Revenge of the Sith. Yeah. Mace
Oh.
Windu is about to kill him off, and
Are you talking about Dooku or Mace Windu?
no, Mace Windu, like because
I totally don't remember
he
that.
cuts Dooku's head off.
Yeah, but he also cuts Dooku's hands off in the beginning.
Yeah,
He does that
but
whole thing.
so
I don't remember that.
Mace Windu's about to do the kill swing, and Anakin's like, no, and he slices his
Oh,
arm
that's
off.
right. Yeah, it's George Lucas' fetish for cutting off hands and arms. I swear
that seems to be a
that's
Star
thing.
Wars thing.
Yeah.
You got to lose an appendage of some kind. I like how they play with Anakin's loss, like Anakin not having an arm in there, like the weird. They had an episode where like a magnet. I think a magnet got turned on and it grabbed him by the. I think it was in the
Yeah, at
prison
the
escape.
Citadel.
Yeah, in the
Yeah,
Citadel.
and he was
escape.
like stuck up to the top. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like keeping that attention to detail for stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah.
not a huge amount of detail to try and pay attention to, but it's just nice that they're like, you know what, we're gonna include that just to like get a callback that he's part machine already.
Right.
And
Well, to
kinda
what
play
you're
with that some
saying
more.
though, a lot of people have said that, and I do agree, especially when we get into these deeper episodes later into the season. The Clone Wars justifies the prequels because that was a lot of people's that was a lot of what people hated is that the prequels started so early with young Anakin, and then we were thrown into moody teenage Anakin, and then we were thrown into the end, and it was just like for as much content as there was in the prequels, there wasn't really enough to justify that turn. Like they sold it as this is how Anakin becomes Vader, and it really wasn't. It was about so much other stuff that they almost kind of forgot about really justifying his turn. And that's what the Clone Wars really does best, is it gives you so much history. I mean, it gives you if you look at how many hours 7 seasons of shows is, it gives you so much content for all the times he's been tested and all the times he's been pushed and all the times he's kind of bent the rules or broke the rules or killed somebody and got away with it or justified it. And then all the times like this where a questionable decision was made and then he took it the wrong way, or he viewed it as distrust or as a reason to look at the Jedi differently. And that's really what this show does best, and that's why I really appreciate it, because that was always one of my major takeaways from the prequels, is that they just didn't sell me on that turn.
Yeah, and honestly, this show really sells the term Star Wars. Like we are getting the war side that we had always heard about. Like for the most part throughout pretty much every one of the films, what we're really only seeing are skirmishes or light battles. Like there was never really I think the attack on Hoth was probably the most warlike moment aside from some of like the space battles.
Yeah,
like
that was a good opener of just like war.
Yeah, that one felt a little bit more like a war because they had dudes in the trenches. They were getting their asses kicked. They weren't doing very well. They had they were trying to there was an acceptable level of chaos to where it did feel like a war, whereas everything else, like the Battle of Yavin, didn't feel like a war. It was an assault. It was a battle. Like the fight for the battle above Endor. That also, like, they call it the battle above Endor. Like it felt like another battle. Like it.
Well,
like
war is a bunch of battles.
Yeah,
right?
but the Clone
this
War
throws in so many more battles into that.
But we also didn't really have the political side of war in any of the films for the most part. Like we had too much of the political side in the prequels. Like way too much of the political side in the prequels, but and then like no politics in the original trilogy or the sequel trilogy. Way too much in the prequels, and then in the Clone Wars series so far we're getting like a pretty delicate balance between both. But when you're getting battles, you're not seeing battles, you're seeing all out war. Like they're going at it. And this season so far, like I can't, like, again, it's been a while since I've seen season 5 to commit it to that level of memory, but this was one of the more harsh ones to see. And again, back into man, I gotta remember what the clone what the clone's name was. Who he sacrificed himself during the Krell storyline.
Well, it wasn't Fives. It wasn't Rex. The guy that blew up the reactor.
Yeah. Because like there was no way that they'd be able to destroy it and have all of them escape at the same time.
Yeah.
And so he stayed behind.
Was it Jesse that did that? Maybe.
I don't know. I don't remember.
I'm not sure.
I don't remember who.
I'm not sure.
Let's see. I'm looking here at the notes. Yeah, it's Jesse.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Fives and Hardcase were the other two that went with him.
Right.
Yeah, that was a like his ending line was really cool. It was just like it was just like all about that brotherhood, all about that camaraderie.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't know, like that particular arc was obviously the most memorable about the entire season for me.
Sure.
Before
we get to the finale one that you were most excited to return to, I mean,
yeah.
this season started with some more political warfare as well, because the first arc was all about, the water war arc, which was they were going down there to help, what's his face's people,
the Corn and the Mon Calamari.
Yeah, and the king's son was being hunted down by a king shark and his people, and which were really cool. the shark bad guys were badass.
Yeah, he's fucking creepy
They were
as
like,
all hell, man.
He had a thick ass neck and muscles.
They did a great job with him. Like, he was terrifying. He was fast. Like,
yeah, he was.
Like they really got that.
Shit.
Like they really got that shark speed accuracy because sharks are ridiculously quick underwater.
Yeah, but there was a lot of politics behind there, like why the Republic was supporting, this king over this king, and why it was important to help out this. This was a small battle that would eventually, help with the rest of the war, and there's a lot of that where, like, we need to help this town or we need to help this planet, free themselves so that they can continue to help us. And I did like that as an opener arc for this series or for this season. But the big thing was the end of this season, obviously, and of course they spoil it on the box art and everything. But yeah.
Well, I mean, they kind of spoiled it in at the end of season 3 when Savage Opress was told that his brother was still alive. So I mean, we knew that there was going to be something there. But did they spoil it on the box? Well, I guess this isn't the box art that you're talking about.
This isn't the box art. No, the season 4 box art. I don't have it on me, but it's it was all about Darth Maul coming back.
Yeah, no, that was like when he actually found it. First of all, the snake guy again, like the first time I saw him, I was like, that's gross. It's annoying me. Half of it reminded me of the snake character from the original Disney Robin Hood film. And then the other half of me was just completely freaked out about the idea of a talking snake because I fucking hate snakes. But yeah,
who doesn't?
Like the pursuit, I didn't really care about because it was.
Sorry, I'm not sure about that.
Didn't ask you shit. Did you hear that?
Yeah. She's not sure about the pursuit either.
Didn't ask you a damn thing. Oh no, the pursuit for Savage to find where his brother was actually at wasn't really that exciting. But
when
yeah,
was like spice or where did you get this, and take me to the trash planet that Thor Ragnarok got dropped off on, and yeah.
Yeah, and then finding when he finally finds his brother, and like, did they explain like how he got the spider half?
The spider legs, yeah. No, I don't think they did.
Like,
unless that's like explained somewhere else. But he's got that big old he's got big old mechanical spider legs.
No, they don't mention it in that episode, so I can't I don't want to say anything about it. But yeah, the chaos in his mind was really well illustrated.
Oh, he was.
Like
He was crazy.
like it was like they were really trying to portray it as like, hey, he shouldn't be alive. And so he is not going to be anything regular. And I mean it takes Mother Talzin to like kind of bring him back to at least normal enough. But yeah, like the voice actor who I gotta find him here.
Sam Witwer.
Yeah, Sam Witwer.
Yeah. This dude, which is crazy to think that he is the voice actor.
Because he's also because he was also Star Killer in The Force Unleashed.
Why am I doing this? I don't want to play a video. Go back.
I was like, yeah, you don't want to do that. We're gonna get pulled.
Yeah, he's got here you go. He's got a lot of gosh darn, I just want to blow up the stupid picture. He's got a lot of voice and acting things in his background, but when you look at him, doesn't he almost look more like kind of like Anakin? Like he kind of like he's got that moody face and everything, and when you hear him talk, he's got that naturally kind of deep voice already. But his voice and Darth Maul's voice are not the same. He does so well, like separating himself and then really just diving into Maul. It took me a while to realize it was the same person.
Yeah, no, because he's an excellent voice actor because he did an incredible job in Force Awakens. Like he did a really good job with the voice acting, or not Awakens, Unleashed. Yeah, because he did a great job of that. They actually modeled the character after him as well. So so his likeness is in there too. But the voice acting for Maul, he did such a good job of portraying that tortured, demented, crazy state that psychopathic state that he was in. He did so well, and it sounded super tortured. And then you hear he hears the mention of Obi-Wan, and he just loses his mind. And
because he was tortured, like he is. Obi-Wan is the guy that split him in half and left him to die. I mean, and for someone to survive like that and go from like, the Sith's top bad guy to left to die. I mean, I'm sure that would break a person. Yeah,
it's explained in I won't talk about like the explanation in terms of what they of how they explain it in the Clone Wars, but in like extra lore, it was kind of explained that he survived all of that through like sheer hatred. Like, it was literally the dark side that kept him alive.
Just kind of kept him going, yeah.
And with that in mind, seeing the way that he portrays when he's found was pretty incredible. I gotta say though, if they had been able to bring him back to normal with just the spider legs, that would have been pretty friggin' sweet. I mean, don't get me wrong, he got some badass robot legs, but if they had been able to keep like his form attached to those spider legs, he would have been the most terrifying Star Wars villain of all time.
He would have, it would have been like Darth Maul and Grievous combined to do Grievous Maul.
As far as combat advantages, it might have been a little tough. Because I don't know how many legs, how many legs do you really want to lose, Maul?
And his legs do evolve throughout the season. Yeah, he starts off with these spider legs.
Well, for the next,
he gets
through the next season, yeah.
And he gets a regular robot legs, and then he continues to get closer and closer to normal. But I guess I don't know why I never thought about this, but he was split in half. But unlike if he'd gotten split in half by a machete and his insides would have just fallen out, he did get split in half by a lightsaber. So I guess that got seared up, so it burnt it so he didn't fall out. So maybe because it was a lightsaber, it kind of kept him alive.
Lightsabers have a tendency to cauterize the wounds that they create. Right. So I'm pretty sure that
makes sense.
I'm pretty sure that's the explanation that they want to go with. Like there's an arm, every single time we've seen an arm cut off. Like when we saw Luke's arm get cut off, he didn't bleed anywhere or anything like that.
Right.
So, which is why he was able to survive having his hand cut off instead of dying from blood loss or something like that. So
sure. Still hurts.
Oh yeah, it friggin' sucks, and I bet it still feels like it's still there. So, because ghost limbs are a real phenomenon that people like that people who end up being amputees have to deal with a lot. So
right.
I'm hearing that weird trilling sound again. I don't know where that's coming from, but it's freaking me out.
Yeah, it's not coming from here. I don't hear anything on my side. It's weird.
Yeah, I don't hear it unless I've got the headphones on. No, this
mind.
this
In your
season was
mindset.
this season was great. I remember really liking season 5, so I'm really excited to watch it again.
Well, can you imagine that this is if you were watching it in real time, and because he does, I mean, because he's crazy in the second to last episode, but then he's back to himself in the final episode, and he's like, I'm coming for you, like I am, because there is a little interaction with him and Obi-Wan in the last episode, right? They do kind of square off a little bit.
No, I think that's the first episode of season 5. I'm pretty sure I thought they left it out. I mean,
No, because the 22nd episode is called Revenge. Savage and Maul now reunited pursue Obi-Wan.
oh yeah, because he has to pair up with Oprah with Asajj
chick.
Ventress to
Yeah.
kind of like not die.
Right, so
but-
which was kind of cool, him pairing up with her for
Yeah,
just a little bit.
because she
She
is
was
now
actually sent to save him.
because
pretty
she's
much.
now a bounty hunter.
Yeah.
Which
right.
is awesome. Like that episode was pretty sweet too, where she's like, finally, you know what, I'm gonna.
Mhm.
I mean, it wasn't a big like they only devoted like 1 or 2 episodes to. Well, I don't remember how many episodes she got in this season, but
Yeah.
But yeah, the bounty episode that she got was like pretty sweet because like she did play it as a bounty hunter who would play it the way that she would like
Mm-hmm.
like a Sith would not care about bounty hunter honor or anything like that. She's like, I
Right.
just need to get
Right.
paid. And so like the double cross on the original client, and then basically forcing the people that she saved to also pay a ransom
Yeah. Mhm.
was great. Like it was just like, yeah, that's how it's.
I really like her character. I think she's great. I really like how she's evolved from just like Dooku's little pet to her
Yeah.
own individual, and
She's
seeing her
dangerous,
and
man.
Obi-Wan, yeah, seeing her and Obi-Wan team up for a little bit. It was a very short episode, and there wasn't it wasn't the satisfying like Obi-Wan Darth Maul rematch that you wanted, but it teased you to be like, there's more coming. We're getting into later, but Darth Maul is back, baby, and they could have easily ended season 4 without any of that, but no, they gave it back to you because they wanted to be like they wanted it in Obi-Wan's mind, like, oh, you're the guy you killed once is back, and he's coming after you,
I like also that Maul when they don't end up being able to kill Obi-Wan, Savage is like, all right, well, are we gonna go after him now? Like, we gonna keep going? He's like, no, we got other business to attend to as well. Like,
yeah, I like that Maul's not like just dumb, like he's like,
Yeah,
no,
he's not-
he's like, oh no, we're gonna be smart about this now that he has his mind back. He's more calculated.
yeah, it's not a desperate pursuit. Like he's
Right.
he's absolutely determined, but in his mind, he's like, you know what? It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Right.
And
Right.
and so yeah, he plays it really well. But they also showcase just how like Obi-Wan is not prepared to deal with a force like Darth Maul, let alone with Savage Opress, who, like, as we saw when he was actually created back in the last season, that he's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like he is a force to be reckoned with.
Well, this is why I want you to hurry up and finish this show.
I
because
know,
it
I know.
is another one of the best parts of this show. This isn't spoilerish at all, but when we first saw Darth Maul in the movies, he was just this quiet badass. He didn't really talk that much. I think he had barely any lines in the first movie. I know he had at least one line, but he was just this quiet, menacing badass. And the Clone Wars fleshes him out, man, and his character really does evolve. And they don't do the classic, oh, you get to know him and he becomes a good guy type thing or anything like that. But I'm so glad we got more of Maul, and we got to hear him talk, and we get to see him grow and everything like that. Like that's really one of my favorite things about this show.
Hearing him speak was like the one thing that people absolutely wanted out of the prequels. Like,
Yeah.
So did you ever watch those videos of what if the prequels were good? that I showcased to you. Did you like how he was gonna make it so where Darth Maul was the main villain throughout, really the main conflict throughout the whole thing? I wanted that. I wanted that so bad.
Everybody did.
After seeing those videos, I was just like, yeah, that would have made it. That would have made it 10 times better if they had gone through that. So it's great that we have these prequels in here to kind of showcase that, but it's still not. It's not exactly.
Again, that's why Clone Wars justifies the prequels. Because when you watch the prequels, Count Dooku is a boring ass villain compared to Maul. You know, you get Darth Maul in episode 1, and then you get Count Dooku in the other episodes. At least Count Dooku is interesting in the Clone Wars, and you see more of him and his power and his mind and everything. So again, it fleshes him out. It justifies him a little more. But yeah, I remember that too. It's how do you start so strong with a red-faced, horned, badass of a villain, and then you just kill him off and you switch him out with a couple old dudes, you know? It's just ugh.
Yeah. But and Dooku got a pretty cool scene in this too. I mean, well, he probably didn't like it very much, but the voodoo torture episode that he was getting, where where his head was melting into that vat, and it was causing all these burns and boils on his face and stuff like that.
She was coming out of his chest.
That was messed up.
She had a little voodoo doll of him, and she his chest was ripping open, and she was coming out of him and everything. Oh, that was intense.
Yeah, that was a moment there where I was like, okay, how is that kind of stuff going to get reversed? Because he was not like that at all. He didn't have any physical distortions in the third season. So at that point, I was just like, the moment where she says, before she throws his voodoo doll into the vat, she said a really badass line. I'm sad that I can't remember it at this point, but it was burn Duke, now you'll burn Dooku or something like that. It was just
she was vengeful. It
was basically I don't care if you die, and just dropped him in there so nonchalant. I was like, that is fucking sweet. It was really cool.
And then he literally was save me, Grievous. You know, he was like, you need to go in there and kill her now and save me. He told Grievous to abandon his whole campaign just to save him from this
target
witch.
Acquired.
It
was and I love their bows. I love the laser shooting bows. I don't like nope, never mind. That would have been a spoiler for something else. I'm not going to tell you about that.
Okay.
But yeah, no, their bow weapons are really cool. If I got the chance to have a Star Wars weapon of any kind, and they said you can't have a lightsaber, I'd be like, all right, fine, I want one of those bows. I want one of those bows and I'm going to cause a bunch of fucking chaos until you tell me I can have a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Well, we just did a solid hour.
We want to move on. We got 2 short stories that we could just close this up at if you want.
We do, but I just emptied this. So
that's fine.
I'm reaching an emergency level.
I made the slideshow and everything.
I
man.
know. Well, you've still got it for the next episode because first of all, I'm probably not going to be done with season 5 by the time Monday rolls along for our next recording. So we're going to have to talk about other stuff. So yeah, we'll have a bunch we'll have a pretty good filler episode on Monday. We got hopefully by then we'll have a few extra stories as well.
Yeah, I do like how we can see the timer up at the top.
I like that too. Well, I'm always looking at Reaper when we're recording the audio side, but yeah, I like this video concept. It still hasn't shown up in my subscriptions, so I don't know when it actually broadcasts out to.
Live or something or what? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Or if it's recording live to this,
zoomed in here.
Or if it's recording live to this application and then it's going to output to YouTube later.
That could be it. That could be it. Yeah.
That seems like a little bit more sense.
This might be something we end up doing. Who knows? We'll see. But thanks for being patient with us, those that are watching, that are listening. So just trying to bring you more content and whatnot. So
one of these days, every now and then, I don't think we'll make it a regular thing because this is so convenient. But one of these days we'll have in-person podcasts again. where we're
Yeah.
both in the same room. But like I said, this is actually really convenient to be able to like this. I really like this setup. This is pretty nice, and I also don't have to leave the house. And if I was really crafty with it, I wouldn't even need to wear pants. But eventually we'll go back to like in-person podcasts. We'll do some in-person trailer reactions as well. But this is also a pretty neat avenue for some trailer reactions when we actually get some.
Right.
Like I haven't seen a trailer in months.
Well, there haven't been very many trailers other than for this movie that we were about to talk about.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll
we'll
watch the Unhinged trailer with Russell Crowe on Monday. Maybe.
Oh, maybe we record that separately and then talk about it the next day. Maybe we get together on Sunday or something like that and get that all together. But I have to go to the bathroom really, really bad, so we're gonna wrap this episode up. Thank you, Nerfherders, for watching or listening, however you decided to take in this episode of The Nap. And be sure to hit the like button on this video on YouTube. Subscribe if you haven't already. Subscribe to whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on, so you do not miss future episodes. Like, we're already 18 episodes deep on this season, and when we decide to start putting season 3 at the beginning of every episode, we're going to be banging them out just as frequently. So make sure you keep up with that content, and find us on social media so you can be a part of the conversation as well. Until then, we'll see you next time.